The first thought that many people had when it was reported that a skull was found in a slab of concrete in Boston was that they found Jimmy Hoffa's body, but they didn't. This death or murder actually goes back to probably World War I, when the ports were controlled by Irish mobs, Irish gangs. And I think about the movie Gangs of New York with Daniel Day-Lewis. Whoever this person was, he or she, they'll probably never find out their identity because of the history behind it. And I dug deep into details and I'm going to share that with you. So stick with me. Hi everyone, I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you very much for joining me. I want to give a shout out to Ships Catable, Dr. Hadix, Terry, and Linda, who have either purchased super stickers here on YouTube for me or bought me cups of coffee or PayPal donations. Thank you very much. On Friday, November 21st, construction workers repairing the concrete along the Black Falcon Terminal in Boston Seaport District uncovered what appeared to be a human skull encased within a concrete slab. The discovery occurred during routine pier maintenance, specifically while saw cutting through existing concrete. Workers immediately alerted authorities, who secured the site and had the skull removed and handed over to the Office of Chief Medical Examiner for analysis. Black Falcon Terminal, also known as Black Falcon Pier, a state-owned maritime facility managed by the Massport, used for cruise ships and cargo operations. The skull emerged as workers cutting into a concrete section of the pier structure, which dates back to its original construction during World War I, primarily 1918 and 1919. The Massachusetts State Police and forensic anthropologists are examining the remains to confirm if it's human, estimate its age and sex, and determine the time since death. The investigation is ongoing with no foul play indicated at this early stage, but the encasement in historical concrete raises questions about its origin. Was it accidental during construction, maybe between 1910 or the 20s construction, or maybe even later? This eerie find has sparked local buzz, with residents on platforms like Reddit speculating about the site's gritty history as a former Army base. The Black Falcon Terminal area in South Boston Seaport District during the late 1910s, specifically around 1918 and 1919, when the pier's concrete was primarily poured as part of the World War I era Army base construction. Organized crime was in its infancy compared to later decades. The neighborhood was a gritty industrial waterfront hub for shipping later and earlier illicit activity like truck hijackings and theft from docks, but no large-scale mafia-type domination was going on there yet. The key organized crime elements in South Boston at that time, between 1918 and 1919, was Irish street gangs, a precursor to the Irish mob. There was the Wallace Brothers Gang, later to evolve into the Gustin Gang around the mid-1920s, and was the most prominent local outfit. Brothers Frank and Steve Wallace, both South Boston natives, formed this crew around 1915 or 1916 with tailboard thieves, as it's called. They specialize in opportunist crimes like looting and hijacking delivery trucks at intersections near the waterfront, including areas close to what would become the Army base piers. By 1918 to 1919, they expanded into armed robberies and small-scale extortion, leveraging the chaotic wartime economy and port activity. Frank Wallace, the leader, was arrested multiple times, including a stint at Deer Island in 1919 for unrelated charges, but rarely convicted due to the local political ties. This group was Irish-American, deeply rooted in Southeast working-class immigrant community, and controlled much of the neighborhood early bootlegging precursors, pre-prohibition smuggling. They weren't a formal mafia, but a loose, violent street gang that laid the groundwork for later Irish mob dominance in the area. Italian-American groups, emerging Boston Mafia. The Boston Mafia, part of the broader New England crime family, later known as the Patriarca family, was just coalescing in the North End around 1916. Under Gaspare Messina, a Sicilian immigrant who arrived in Boston around 1915. Messina's crew focused on gambling, extortion, and early bootlegging, but their influence was limited to Italian enclaves in the North End and East Boston, not yet extending deeply into the Irish heavy South Boston. By 1918 and 1919, figures like Philip Buchello, who took over as boss in 1924, were rising, but the group was small and fragmented. They occasionally did clash with Irish gangs over waterfront rackets, but no major turf wars occurred until 1930, actually 1931, the Gustin Gang massacre, when Italian mobsters led by Joe Lombardo ambushed and killed Frank Wallace to eliminate competition. In 1918 and 1919, South Boston, the dominant forces was Irish street-level gangs like the Wallaces. The Italian mafia didn't gain a foothold in Southie, as they call it, until the 1930s and 40s, after Prohibition fueled expansion. Now, the remains found in the 1918-1919 concrete could tie to an accidental death, a worker killed during hasty wartime construction, or a gang-related killing being covered up amid the era's lawlessness. The Wallace's hijacking sometimes did turn deadly, and the pier's remote industrial nature make it ideal for disposing of bodies. Forensic analysis is ongoing as of today, November 24th, and it may reveal more, but historical records show no confirmed murders linked directly to the site. South Boston's underworld did explode during Prohibition, 1920 to 1933, with Gustin Gang peaking before their downfall. So if they can find out how long that body's been in the cement, they could probably get a better timeline. But that's what I found out for you so far. Would there still be missing persons records on file going back that far? I don't know. So what are your thoughts? Put your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, please share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.